Can't ball in a life, man. Go on with it, go on with it. Do us. So we are coming in with a force. Yeah, blessings we are reaping. Yeah. Work, 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 work. See me have you work, 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 work. See me do me dirt, 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 dirt. So me for that work, 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 work. When you walk a line, 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 line. In the girl, we murder, da, 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 da. Drive me a dessert. Just a job you lurking. Yeah. You make a back, now you don't like it. You know I dealt with you the nicest. Nobody touched me in the right. Nobody touched me in a crisis. I believe that all of your dreams are duration. You took my heart, all my keys, and my patience.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Shay Renee, and I am back. And this time, we are going to be talking about The Best Man, the final chapters. I am your girl, Shay Renee Online, and this is my husband, the main character of So I Asked My Husband, Brian, okay? So we're going to talk about this together. Again, as these episodes usually go for So I Asked My Husband, y'all know me as a reality TV person. I watch all the TV, but then I ask him what he thinks about what I've watched. And most of the time, he hasn't watched it. So he's giving a pure opinion of simply the things that I watch. All right. So first, I want to address some of the comments from our last video. First and foremost, thank you so much for watching our introductory video. We have kind of created this show off of a previous show that we had on a podcast, if you will, that we were doing that was actually doing very well. But we decided to revamp, if you will, what's going on. So we changed the title of the show to So I Asked My Husband, because I'm always asking him things. Like, I look to him for so much advice on different things. So I thought that would be more appropriate. So let's get into it. Today we are talking about The Best Man final chapter, okay? So the first episode was titled Paradise. Harper, as we know, was the best friend of Morris, played by Taye Diggs. He was the best friend of Morris Chestnut, which was the character Lance in The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday. And now he's going to be the best man at Quentin's wedding. Quentin, as we know, was a character before. He was affluent, this kind of smart mouth friend. All of them went to college. Affluent, yeah. Affluent. Okay. So I asked my husband the dictionary. Affluent. Okay. He got money. Okay. So they were all friends in college. They've continued this friendship throughout their life. So now Quentin is finally getting married. He was a glorified playboy. Okay. So he's actually going to finally get married, but he's going to marry, her name escapes me. She's married to Boris Kodjoe.
Oh,
Nicole Ari Parker.
Definitely gonna get that wrong.
Whatever her, child, let me tell you something. I forgot what her daggone name was. Let me look it up because I don't want to be steering y'all in the wrong direction, child. Nicole Ari Parker in Best Man. She was like, so Nicole Ari Parker, just to give y'all some background on her character in this movie, she's like some supermodel. She's like the it girl. She's so amazing and all these different things. And she's going to be marrying Quentin. Like, it was, for me, honest. Okay, first we need to start this out with spoiler alert. If you haven't watched The Best Man, don't even watch this. But because I'm going to be talking about and basically recapping the show as we go along. Okay. Hold on.
Can we watch the show later? Like, not the show, but like the movie, just to get a baseline?
We sure can. I probably should have had you do that.
I mean, because you're saying like Harper or Harpin, whatever, but I need the
Harper is Taye Diggs.
Right, that's what I need. All right.
So we're gonna do that. I don't know. I don't know what her name was. But anyway. She is Ciamara. Her name was Ciamara Amani. Okay. So Ciamara is just like this very fabulous, very earthy, like she is just the it girl, right? Okay, so Quentin is marrying her, but she's like saging everything and whatnot. And so Harper is the best man, but Murch, which is one of their other friends, if you guys know him, I don't know what his real name in real life is, so you can find the character.
Has he been on a movie?
He has.
The dude that was in a wheelchair?
The one that nobody was in a wheelchair.
No, the dude with the dreads.
Yeah,
the dude was in Odds. He was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, he married the stripper girl, which was Regina Hall.
Okay.
So anyway, Murch was the one that's actually closest to Quentin. So he was pissed that he didn't get picked as the best man. So the whole time he's pissed off. So they go to this exotic island, okay, if you will, so that they can, they're going to this exotic place so that they can go to this wedding, okay? So let me read y'all the description of the first episode. Harper is the best man yet again when his friends reunite in paradise for Quentin's impending nuptials. Jordan, Lance, Murch, Robin, Candace, and Shelby each react differently to Harper's chance to turn unfinished business into a movie. Okay, because in the first episode, Harper, also played by Taye Diggs, finds out that his book, Unfinished Business, as we know if we've all watched the movie, which I hope you have if you're watching the series, right? They want to turn that book that's ultimately created a lot of turmoil in their relationships as friends because he slept with Lance's now deceased wife, Mia, okay? Played by Monica Calhoun, I think that's her name. But anyway, he slept with her. Lance never knew that, and then he was thinking about it going down the aisle. So now they got to relive all of this stuff potentially in a movie, okay? So he's going to have to figure out, one, how to tell them this, and two, how to get around Murch being upset that he's not the best man. So they get down to this exotic island. Quentin is just a totally different person. He ain't smoking weed no more. He's this great, amazing person that is so zen. Okay.
Quentin is Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard,
right.
Yes. So they get down there. He don't look like he really want to marry this girl. So my question to you is, what would you expect? Let's say you really don't want to marry this person, because we're going to find in a future episode that Quentin was actually wanting one of his friends to like stop him from making a mistake. What would you want your friends to do? Or would you even, how would you go about realizing, oh my God, I'm making a mistake? What would you do?
How old are they supposed to be?
They are definitely in their 40s, I think, at this point. In the movie, all of them are in their 50s in real life. But I feel like in the movie, they're supposed to be in their late 30s, early 40s.
Well, don't the camera adds like age or something like that. That's what they say. If you're 40 years old, you should be able to make your own decisions. So I'm not putting that on friends.
So let's put this into further perspective. So his dad, Quentin's father, so they own, Quentin is rich. He's affluent, right? I said it right?
Well, again, I've never heard anyone say affluent, but
he's affluent. Okay.
No. What did you say again?
Affluent.
I feel like you're saying it wrong.
Affluent.
So you definitely are saying it wrong. Affluent. Okay.
So he is his dad. They own 17, I think he said 17 resorts. So they have all these amazing resorts and whatnot, and they own all of these resorts. So this is just one of the newest resorts that they purchased. And the dad likes Ciamara, which is Nicole Ari Parker, because she's like well known all over the world. She's this big model. He wants her to be the face of their business.
All right.
Now, wrench in the plan. Shelby, if you remember Shelby from The Best Man.
Which one is that?
She was Murch's girlfriend.
Who's Murch?
Murch is, hold on, I'm gonna show you a picture of the cast. Okay, I'm not gonna show you a picture of the cast. Okay, I am. So this is Murch. That guy.
Yeah, so the dude from Oz. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that he was.
You know from that, but you know from Oz?
I did not. I don't remember watching that.
It was about prisoners. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
So Murch married Regina Hall.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So she was the stripper in The Best Man.
Okay.
So they ended up, but he was dating Shelby.
Shelby,
Is this girl. Murch was originally dating her.
right?
But she was when they were in college, Shelby was like the hoity-toity, like rich girl. She was like,
Why is she still around if they're no longer dating?
Because Quentin has been canoodling with her for 15 years at this point. Because at the end of The Best Man, it ended with them waking up in the bed, Quentin and Shelby waking up in the bed together, because they always had this ongoing they always had this ongoing thing where they were always constantly arguing and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So, but they had this extreme sexual tension all the time, and they really like each other.
Okay.
So they ended up sleeping with each other after the wedding, the Best Man wedding. Okay, so at the end, I guess they all got drunk, and then they ended up in the bed together. And at the end of the movie, they wake up like they see each other in the bed. So Shelby, I guess that continued, even though Quentin acts like he hates her, like he don't really fool with her.
You gotta keep up appearances. I get it.
She is friends with Jordan, Nia Long.
Okay.
So remember, Nia Long and
Taye
Diggs, they had like a little crush on each other in The Best Man, but they never. It was like they never really let it happen.
Okay.
And so Taye Diggs married Sanaa Lathan, which is played the character Robin. Okay.
Okay.
And Robin is a chef.
Is Taye Diggs still with Sanaa Lathan?
Yes, they are married, and they have a daughter named Mia, which they named after Lance, which is Morris Chestnut, his wife.
His dead wife.
Died from cancer. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was it breast cancer?
I think it was breast cancer.
Oh, it is.
Yep. Breast cancer. So Shelby and Jordan are really close. Jordan is invited to the wedding. Shelby is not.
Okay.
So
I'm so sorry. And I apologize.
Jordan is Nia Long.
There we go.
Okay. So Shelby is on the phone with Jordan, and she's like, "Oh, this cannot happen. He is not going to marry this girl." And so Shelby, which I think is hilarious, she was actually a Real Housewife. Like, she was on the Real Housewives of whatever. So she, and I loved how there was a cameo with Andy Cohen. Am I supposed to be yelling?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Am I yelling? I'm sorry, y'all. So she had a cameo with Andy Cohen. They were in the Watch What Happens Live studio. And he was interviewing her. He was like, "Well, you know, your old friend Quentin is getting married. Are you upset about that or whatever?" And she was like, "No, I don't care. I don't care he's getting married." Then there was a scene that showed her going to Quentin's office, embarrassing him, yelling and screaming like, "Why are you marrying her?" and all this, that, and the third. So anyway, getting to the point, episode 1 closes out with her showing up to the resort because she is going to ruin this wedding. Okay, she's like, "Oh, I wasn't invited, but I'm here and I'm not going anywhere." So she's on the resort. She ends up he's having this bachelor party, which the cat's out of the bag that Quentin, he really wanted Murch to be his best man, but I think that he made Harper his best man because he knew that because Harper always has this thing of effing stuff up. So he's like, okay.
He didn't really want to get married.
Yeah, he didn't really want to get married.
Okay.
So Murch was doing all these things to try to prove that he made the wrong decision by choosing Harper. So he brought all this weed and stuff, sat it on the table when they were all hanging out, playing cards and stuff, because they do this thing where they all play cards together. So he's like, Quentin was like, "I don't smoke anymore."
That's right. Okay.
And so when they first got there, Ciamara, Nicole Ari Parker, she's doing all this sage and stuff. Everybody's meeting her for the first time at this point. And Regina Hall, aka, I don't remember what her name is in the show. Hold on, y'all. Regina Hall, it was just Candace. She gets really sick. Like, I guess she's like, the fumes or whatever from the sage really got down her throat, so it made her sick. She almost choked and passed out. So anyway, they're doing all these things to gear up for the wedding. Shelby shows up to kind of shock the world. they had this little bachelor party. This is going into episode 2. They had this little bachelor party, and she shows up to strip for Terrence Howard.
Okay.
And so she
in front of everybody, or just in front of the bachelor party?
The people at the bachelor party. So she reaches out. She asks Candace. She's like, "I need your help. I need you to help me with something." Because Candace used to be a stripper, even though Candace and Murch, they own 4 schools. They have schools. She's like educated.
Put herself through school. I get it.
Yeah, that's what she was stripping for.
Oh.
So they have 2 daughters. They have their own charter schools that they own and stuff. So she's doing all these things to, educate herself. Their oldest daughter has anxiety really bad. So she became very passionate about natural remedies and things like that. So anyway, she teaches Shelby how to strip.
Okay.
So Shelby goes and does this whole little whatever. And so Quentin is like, now I know what I need to do. Because, like, I guess they slept together the night before. Because when he found out that she was there, he was pissed off that she was there.
Mm-hmm.
But then they ended up having sex. And Xiomara told her, she was like, I know you had sex with him. But she was like, I'm still going to marry him or whatever. She's like, you will never have him and all this, that, and the third.
Okay.
So going into episode 2, so he basically tells her to get on about it and like he ain't about to be messing around with her.
Terrence Howard tells the girl he just had sex with.
Yeah, I think he either had sex with her after the strip show or before. I can't remember. But they had sex. That was something that happened.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. So in the next episode, they give her, so this is the description of episode 2. This is the wedding. Lance finds inspiration at Quentin's. Also, y'all, Lance, he has become this big slut bucket. Like, he is sleeping around with each and every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Well, not Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Who is Lance again?
Woman. Morris Chestnut.
Oh, okay, this is white died. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so he's sleeping around with everybody. So here's another question for you.
Why does that make him a slut bucket again if he's single?
He's having trouble dealing with the fact that his wife has passed, right?
Yeah.
He's not really spending a lot of time with it. They have 4 kids.
God damn.
He's not spending, and he's a retired
athlete.
Mm-hmm. He has money, but he's really missing his wife, and he's not dealing with it.
Okay.
How would you manage that?
That's tough. I mean, you gotta have maybe a good support system. I don't know, maybe counseling. I don't even know. Like, that's tough. You got 4. Does he have? Is it like daughters or is it?
Yes.
A mix?
2 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Does he have a sister? Like, I would rely on my sister to help out. My mother. Yeah, that's tough. But you might lash out and sleep with women. Just because he hasn't dealt with.
He like barricaded himself into. He's like living in a hotel.
He's doing bad. That's
and
understandable.
They went to go and see him before the trip because he was contemplating not even going to the island for the wedding. He comes to the door with his robe open, naked, because he got 2 chicks in there. He's screwing.
So wait a minute. So does he know who's at the door?
Yeah, this is a peephole. I know.
Oh, these guys on the other end of the door.
This is Tay Diggs, which is Harper, and Murch, which is that guy.
I'm gonna chalk that up to more Hollywood stuff. If my friend, again, the wife passes on or something like that, I understand it's a trying time. But if I'm on the other end of that door and you open the door, you meet out and stuff like that, like, we got a different issue. Like, that's, to me, that doesn't have one thing to do with another. Like, wrap the robe up or something. But I'm going to chalk that up to it being Hollywood. And not something that would actually happen in real life. But he's doing bad. He needs some help. Like, that's really unfortunate.
But do you choose to sleep around?
Probably.
Really?
I'm doing bad. I need to do something to get my mind off the fact that, because if I'm sitting at this home, I'm thinking about, oh, my wife used to fuck up the eggs and the kid. Like, with you. Oh, goddamn. I know Lachey typically has a mess here. She got a mess there. Oh, she didn't wipe up when she took a shit. Like, so what I'm saying was that these are things that can remind you.
That is not true, by the way. You are making up shit.
What I'm saying is that there are things that could remind me of you here. So let me get a hotel room. what am I going to do in this hotel room by myself? I know one thing that made me feel better, at least for the moment, you know, boot knocking. So
sleeping around is
I'm also single, and I'm also
answer, maybe not the answer.
Certainly not the answer, but an answer just in the interim. I am single. I'm a widow. I am a widower. I'm grieving. Like I had to raise these chillins. There's a lot going on. So yes, I would absolutely be having. Yeah. Let's just start it out.
So yeah, he's sleeping around with everybody. So
but again, let me ask you this because I want to get your take on what's everybody. How many women has he had sex with that you've seen in the show?
Oh, it was a lot.
What do you consider? That's what I want. What do you consider a lot?
Two. So he slept with 2 women from what I saw, 2 women in the hotel room.
Okay.
The driver, one of the ladies that opened the door for them, 3 other women on the resort.
Okay.
He had 2 women in the bed with him as he woke up.
That's another time outside of when he rode the road.
This is once he got to the resort. Now he's sleeping with all these women there.
So it's about to be 10 so far. Is that like the count?
About. And then he now is enamored by their resort director, which she is not giving him the play that he's used to women just falling at his feet. And she's like, so you haven't saw the ladies sleeping out here. You having fun? I hope you're enjoying the island. You know, all of that. So, yeah, he's
I think you also have to realize that, and this is something I didn't anticipate, but yes, he's a former athlete. And more chefs, do you find him attractive?
Yeah.
Okay, so you find him attractive. Most guys are not in a position to fend off women, meaning that most women don't throw themselves at men.
I don't know about that.
Most men get women throwing themselves at them.
Yeah, but men are in a. I beg to differ because men are even in a more grand position where they can throw women off of them because they feel like there's so many men out here to think that they can have any woman they want, especially if you're a Lance type. Right. Where you have money.
What I'm saying to you is that if you're a Lance type, that's what makes it. So that's what makes you always having sex with all these a slut bucket. Yeah, because that's not the average man's lifestyle. If you get most men would be slut buckets if women are like if a guy receives the amount of attention that a female receives, catcall and all that type of stuff, guys don't have the will. I believe don't have the willpower to say, you know what, come on now. Nah, I'm gonna chill, I'm gonna pass. Guys are taking full advantage of that. He is an athlete. He's attractive. Women are throwing themselves at them. I'm grieving, so let me make me feel a little bit better. I'm grieving in my heart. This won't help my heart, but it will help something else. So guys will take advantage of that. He's not working at Heckingers, and then women are throwing that's a different vibe. If you pass on, I'm not going to get the same attention. If I did, I would probably be a slut bucket because that's not my lifestyle, and it's not likely to be my lifestyle. Then I'm definitely gonna have sex with somebody likely just because I'm grieving and I don't have a female looks. But what I'm saying is that he's being a slut bucket. That's because he's an attractive guy, rich, famous, that type of thing. So they get a pass in my book.
No, they don't. Because here's the thing. I've always said, for me, I think that rich men need to be even more responsible with their penis because then now you're out here, Nick Cannon in it.
Well, no, the first thing you do is get a vasectomy.
I've always said that. I've always said NBA basketball players, football players, because vasectomies can be reversed.
Don't bother.
The first thing that I would get as soon as I put ink to paper on that contract is a vasectomy. And that would stop all of these gold digging wenches out here. Okay? Don't say I ain't never tried to help y'all do nothing. I think that would be the way to go. But again, talking about regular people like yourself, I mean, if God forbid anything ever happened to you, I'm not thinking about sowing my royal oats or getting my loins watered. Okay, I'm worried. I'm sad that my life has extremely changed now.
How do I look for happiness? I'm sad, so let me. God, another woman will depend on the woman, but she's not likely to feel the void left by you. What she can do, and it's gonna make me feel better. But don't
most men, once you guys y'all always say that once you bust a nut, then you come back to your senses.
Absolutely.
So you've catapulted into this situation, and now you've released. Now you're back to the same old
Newsflash. Why do you think there's so many? Why do you think he's a slut bucket? Because it happens over and over. Because yes, it's fleeting. But
then again, now you've created another issue.
What was the issue?
More now, these women are having expectations now. So now you're creating more stressors for yourself.
What expectation would you get out of being involved in a threesome? Like, what expectation do you really have?
Do you know women?
I know that, yes, which is why I'm saying actions speak louder. So when she says, well, I thought we would get back, what was she saying?
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you understand how emotional women are?
I do.
Do you understand how unrealistic a lot of women are?
I do.
Do you know how many women...
I married one.
Do you know how many women knowingly sleep with a married man?
Yes.
Okay. And they continue to think, really?
Go ahead.
Girl, if whoever you are, I feel sorry for your mother. Anyway. Don't play me.
Listen, I'm right.
Anyway. So, you made me forget. Okay. So, if you are knowingly messing with a married man, okay, there's 3 things that are top of mind to you.
Okay.
Number 1, you should know that he's never going to leave his wife.
Right.
2, you should never have any expectations.
Okay.
And 3, you will never have any holidays, any amazing days, just weekends.
So how's that a dude's fault? Okay.
The problem is, those are things that these women should know, but they don't accept. Then it turns into, now it's the guy's fault because you see the signs throughout the time that you're with said women, sleeping with them. There's always that, oh, well, if you're so unhappy with her, or are you ever going to leave her? Those questions come up. So you men decide to continue to ignore that. As you see a woman, you obviously see them emotionally getting attached to you, right? And then as the woman continues to be in denial, allow you to keep them in denial. You still do like most men do oh, I'm just chilling. Or, if a relationship happens, it happens,
right.
And women are out here, out on a limb thinking, oh, well, he didn't say he's opposed to it. So in these situations where the woman is messing with a man that's married, he's never said he wouldn't divorce her. It's just not right now.
I got to say that because if I say I'm looking for the right one, you're likely not it. But I'm totally down to have sex with you. Like that doesn't likely yield results. So I got to tell you these other things. What I blame is women, people like you, the friends. Where are the friend groups to say, listen, I'll tell you what. Because when your friend says, well, yeah, he didn't technically say that. Where are you?
Let me pause you because we can't use me because I wouldn't be that.
What I'm saying, right. So what I'm saying is I blame women as a collective. The friends of said female, I believe should say, okay, I'll tell you what. Because you're right. He didn't say he would never fucking marry you. But do this. Don't fuck him. I'm sorry.
Because it won't get monetized.
I'm sorry. Don't sleep with him. And let's see what happens. Has any friend ever said, I'll tell you what, because he didn't say this, but try this. Don't sleep with him and let's see how he acts.
Okay. I raise you. I take that and I raise you. What about your male friends?
Talk to me.
Why don't the male friends ever tell their friends, you know what? It's not even. And I feel like if more men would tell their friends that you shouldn't cheat on your girl, you shouldn't do all of this, less of it will happen. More women are more inclined to be like, unless you a city girl out here and you just trying to sleep around and whatnot and you effing these men for money, because at this point you're not getting what you want out of them emotionally. So a lot of women have, gotten to the point where, yes, I'm still emotionally involved, but I do want to feel like I'm getting something out of this with this Negro. So I'm going to milk him like the cash cow that he is out here acting like he is. So women have changed the game in that manner, but even now it's not working. It's not even that amazing because now you have a kid that you may or may not have been anticipating. And now you're stuck with this kid for umpteen years. Your life has drastically changed. Not saying you don't love your children, but in the end, you're still ending up with the same result. Yeah, you may have a little bit of more money in your pocket, but you still don't have him. So I go back to my original thought process of women in general, for the most part, if their friend is telling them, hey girl, I'm sleeping with this man and he's married, but oh my God, he's so amazing. He give me the best head and sex and blah, 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 blah. But because I'm not getting it at home, whatever. And then now if I'm telling my friend that, she may be like, girl, but he's married. Mm-hmm. Like, if you were married, would you want somebody to do that to you? That's probably the first thing that a female is telling their friends. And it also depends on the age gap, the age, because young girls are probably out here city girling it up and they don't care. Girl, get your money, blah, 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 because they don't really have no responsibilities. But for the most part, what I'm saying to you is, why don't more men advocate for monogamy?
Right. First of all, it's a great question. I believe the reason why I put a lot of onus on women more so than men is because I believe that women truly have the power. Mm-hmm. Guys, most guys, or many men are weak when it comes to matters of the flesh and are looking for the immediate and not thinking of the long-term consequences. And more often, women are in control of closing whatever. And I'm not excusing any kind of guy's behavior because they shouldn't cheat at all. But I believe that where a guy is weak, where they're like, listen, I mean, she got a ghetto booty. What do you want me to do with a ghetto booty? Like, literally, what do you want me to do with a ghetto booty? I don't know what to do with it outside of actually, sleep with her. Not making an excuse for that, but women have a lot of power. That is a valuable resource. Don't give it away willy-nilly based on what a guy says. Do it off of what he does, in my opinion. Doesn't excuse the fact of a guy, cheating on his girl and stuff like that. And some male friends do say, come on, you tripping. But guys gonna do what guys gonna do. I'm an I told you so person. So I don't want to say I don't mind if you cheat. I'll say that if you get caught for doing some dumb stuff, you can't cry to me about it. That's what I'll say.
But do you think it would make a big difference if more men were like, I don't really support that, my nigga? Like,
I think it would make more of a difference. Yeah, if a lot of guys were like in unison, no, you shouldn't do that. No, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, certainly.
But why don't they?
I'm just looking to score. I mean, can I be honest with you? Because you hit the nail on the head. It's immediate gratification. I'm just looking to score. I'm looking to have sex because you see the same girl. You see her. And if I tell you that, she's good in the sack and this and that, again, the flesh is weak.
Why don't more men think about the aftermath? Mm-hmm. Because my thing is, okay, cool. It feels good to me right now. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and even for women, I'm going to ride this dick to the sunset. Okay. But I still have my issues tomorrow.
Yeah. That's tomorrow, Brian's problem.
My issue tomorrow is that he's still going home to his wife and children or whoever, mm-hmm. or he's not going to be with me.
Or maybe more guys are comfortable with that, saying, it makes me going home to my situation far more palatable, knowing that I've done whatever with Youngin.
Okay, let's go with that. So it's more palatable, but why not fix what's going on there? Because in most situations, well, we doing this. Why stay?
It could be a matter of convenience. It could be a matter of financing. It could be a matter of being lazy. And not wanting to actually do any kind of legwork to change it, when this is a lot easier. It's a lot easier. And let's say this, hear me out. Let's say if I'm unhappy in my marriage. Mm-hmm. I'm unhappy in my marriage. I'll cheat. She finds out. Then she divorces me. All right, well, still a win-win. If you ultimately don't care about your marriage anymore, mm-hmm. then and you're lazy and don't want to actually be the one to say, listen, I don't want to go to counseling, so don't even bring it up. Let's just get a divorce. I want her to handle that legwork. Then you do cheat. You get caught. It's a win-win.
What if she don't leave?
Then it's still a win-win because I get to still cheat and do what I do and then still come back here and everything is status quo. So what's the problem?
Fair enough. I always say Toni Braxton's mama said it best. If he gonna cheat, you ain't gonna do nothing about it. Shut up about it.
And she got an old school booty.
Anyway, let's get back to the show. But good talk. That's a good perspective. But let me tell you something right here on camera. If you even think about it, it's a Lorena Bobbitt situation.
If I think about what?
You know
cheating,
what it is.
You can find me
Don't
on
play with me. Anyway, y'all, he know better, and you do too. Whoever you are that's even thinking about it out there.
Just insert my Instagram handle.
No,
here.
he don't. Child, he don't even use that damn Instagram. Ain't no pictures on there.
I'm on
Yeah, okay. He
new
do
one.
use it to exchange videos with his brother and sister. Child, please. Anyway, moving on. So, episode 2, the wedding. All right, Lance finds inspiration at Quentin's wedding. Jordan questions her work-life balance. Harper makes a decision about unfinished business, the movie. Candace and Murch reframe their relationship. Robin searches for peace, and Shelby declares war. Okay, so here's some things that really were point eye openers for me in this episode. Robin, which is Harper's wife. Robin Sanaa Lathan. Harper is Taye Diggs. Okay, they have a daughter at home. Robin is very she seems very whimsical. Like she seems like one of those people that oh, this is a shiny thing and I like it right now. You know, like she saw this lady that had like a I do feel like I'm yelling. Am I yelling? Maybe because I'm used to having my mic, so I feel more comfortable with my mic being there. But anyway, she met this woman that had like this food stand that she's had on the island for like forever. And so Robin was like truly inspired by this. And she's like, you know, because back home she does all these things with like her she does food boxes and stuff like that. And even Harper like encouraged her. He was like, yeah, whatever you want to do, I encourage you, whatever. Kind of like you are when I just decide I want to do things. You're very supportive and very encouraging. But it seems like she has her hands in so many pots and she doesn't like take it to fruition. Like she doesn't like really engulf herself into these things. Like she does it and then she kind of doesn't anymore. But I guess with the whole
you still use that Peloton? Go ahead.
We don't have a Peloton.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What? You tried me. Anyway. Y'all, we do have an exercise bike and he tried me because I don't be getting on it. But I teach step classes, okay? So I get my cardio on. You try to play real quick, don't do that. Because I work out 3 times a week doing that. And I teach my class and I step the whole time. So you step off.
I said it before.
Moving on. Anyway, so she is like so enamored by this woman. And then she's like, why don't we just, she says to him, why don't we move here? Let's just move here. I'm like, girl, what? Like, she's just very impulsive to me. And this is going to come full circle by episode 8 when we get to that.
Okay.
So she's very impulsive, and Harper is more like he's kind of like Jordan, where they're very career driven. Like Harper is thinking about this movie. He's thinking about how, you know, this is really going to elevate their finances. Like his agent continues to call him saying, we got to make a call in this movie right now if they change their mind. This is going to, you know, you're going to make millions off of this. So she is like, she's very supportive of Harper, but then it's like she's supportive, but then she resents him on his rise because she feels like the more he does, the less, I guess, the less time he's giving to them. But it's kind of like that NBA basketball player syndrome. You knew what it was, you know what I mean? You know what it takes for me to be successful in what I'm doing. And now all of a sudden it's a problem to you now that we're living in it. Like, it's okay when I can just shell out cash whenever you need to do all of these different ventures that you want to do. But now that you want to do all these different ventures, or you just want to move to another, she immediately said, well, you can write from anywhere. And he's like, but my life is in New York. Like, this is where the basis of everything that I'm doing. So my question that I will pose to you is, how would you navigate a partner that is trying to that's just kind of all over the place. It's like, you know, how do you center that? Like, it's like because I can say that between us.
Mm-hmm.
You are Brian is very organized. He's very centered. He's very, what time are we doing this? And we need to make sure this is done. And, you know, and
I'm my Instagram handle.
I'm more, you know, okay, here's a good idea. Let's do this.
Let's move to Arizona. Let's move to California. You've never been to either place.
Okay, but I haven't been to California.
Or Arizona.
Listen, shout out to my bro. You know, he lives there. I was gonna say his name, but he might not want to be known in that. Listen, but I quickly came to my senses.
No, you didn't.
I did. Yes, I did.
It was because we had conversations and I was giving you factoids that you couldn't refute, which is again what I think that they, is she successful? Like, is she a successful cook, chef?
Yeah, like she's successful enough. Like, it's not like she's on Top Chef. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, her food boxes were doing well. She's done like food pantries and that. She wants to be like the Malcolm X of food in the neighborhood. Like, she's very Black Power, you know, I want to help the community, you know, stuff like that.
What community?
But she didn't want to move out of Harlem, I think that's where they lived, in the more, not so much less fortunate, but like middle class area. And also Harper wanted to buy a bigger house.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that because after the wedding is over, they get back and he wanted to buy a bigger house and she didn't ultimately want to move. So again, how do you, I guess you answer that. Like, how do you navigate around somebody? You just give them the facts.
Or you bring up these points where it's like, where you have to show the person they're not making any sense.
Okay, but what if the person's like, well, what if I come back with, because I ultimately was like, you right. But what if I came back to you and was like, well, you're not being supportive. Like, I support you in everything you want to do.
I mean, I think it's also a cop-out, because if you're telling me that he is supportive of her, so you bring up those things that he was supportive, and then you also got to bring up the harebrained ideas or schemes that she's had in the past, especially if you say that she's flighty or, you know. So you got to bring up, remember when you wanted to buy that bike for this reason? Remember you wanted that body by Jake and you didn't use it. Remember you wanted to do this and you didn't do it. Like, you got to bring up those types of things.
Okay, first of all, the body by Jake, I did have it and I did use it. Okay. And the bike I would have used, but you never bought me one.
Because I knew that you.
I would have used it. Me.
You have a stationary bike that you haven't used yet.
Yeah, but that bike goes out on the road. I wanted you to buy me the road bike.
So again, this is what you do. You say, so let me get this straight. You want me to invest in not like a Huffy from Toys R Us, which is what I considered. You want me to invest over $1,000 into some performance bike when you won't even use the stationary bike that's downstairs. So
because it doesn't go anywhere. I want to go and ride out on trails.
This is a woman who doesn't like the cold. So
I want to be in an open road.
Let's eliminate
half. I got to do that. I got to see the world.
Half the year you're not using the bike.
I got to see the world.
Half the year you're not using the bike, right? Because you don't like the cold weather. So half the year you're not using the bike. So we're talking about half the year where you would be using the bike.
Just say that you don't want to buy me nothing.
Brokey. I'll say that I don't want to waste money on.
No. The lies. Anyway, moving on. I ain't robbing. So moving on. So what else happened in that episode? Because that was really what pissed me off about that episode. Okay, so Lance finds inspiration at Quentin's wedding. So Lance, which is Morris Chestnut.
Okay.
So he feels like his dick ain't working no more. It's not getting up the way he needed it to.
Okay.
So he Robin gives Harper these mushroomy things or something that's supposed to help with getting it up.
Okay.
Okay. So he's like, oh, I heard she gave you something. Give me a little something, some of that, so I can see if it helps. So he goes in his room and he chowing down on this stuff, and it's still not working. And he got 2 chicks in there that he about ready to service, and it ain't had his dick ain't getting hard.
Okay.
So then he sees the concierge lady or the one that's directing their trip running. So he goes and is talking to her. So he's like enamored by this woman now. So then he's like watching football and stuff. So he's getting inspiration. He's trying to really find himself because he was doing these perfume commercials that didn't work because he's a terrible actor. And in the
perfume or cologne?
The cologne. I'm sorry, okay. Cologne commercials. Then he was Stephen A. Smith. Mm-hmm. He was on a show with. Hold on, Stephen A. Smith. He the one to do it with the white man, right?
What are you talking about?
Who is Stephen A. Smith? He don't do the show with the white man, right?
Not anymore. You're talking about Skip Bayless, so
that's okay. So I am talking about Stephen A. Smith. So Stephen
Hairline?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's you know.
So
that.
Stephen A. Smith was doing the show with Lance.
Okay. And
Lance was about to fight him or something on the show because he's trying to find himself. He's trying to find his life after football. So they he sees this young boy that is talking smack about how amazing he is. He's like a top pick and all this. So he decides he wants to go back and play football again. He's in his early 40s. And so he thinks that he's still good. He can go back and play. So that's his inspiration. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the wedding commences. Quentin they're getting these matching tattoos for the ring. He gets it on the wrong finger.
I'm sorry. Terrence Howard's getting a tattoo.
Quentin and Ciamara, they're getting these, but they put it on the wrong finger and he didn't correct them. So anyway,
was he drunk? How does he get it on the wrong finger?
He did. He don't want to get married, so he's not correcting anything.
Okay.
He just wants you to see that he getting something done. The Ciamara girl. So Ciamara and Harper goes and tells Shelby, listen, I got you a flight back home. You don't need to be here. Like you got to I don't know where you gonna go, but you got to get the hell up out of here. So she's like, okay, fine, I'll just go. And she's like, because she told Quentin to meet her after the strip show.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, meet me XYZ after this.
Mm-hmm.
And he like, all right. But he sends Harper to tell her, and then Ciamara shows up and she's like, yeah, you need to just go ahead and be gone. You lost basically. So she goes to the airport. They're all talking that night before the wedding, and Harper lets everybody know that he's trying to get their blessing for this is after the wedding. Hold on. So she goes, Quentin is getting ready for the wedding. He reveals. So what's about to happen? Like he's waiting for Shelby to come and ruin everything because he really don't want to get married. So Harper was like, no, I took care of Shelby. Like she out of here. Like she going to the airport, whatever. And so Q is like, no, why'd you do that? So he goes to the airport and he gets down on one knee. Then he's like, I always loved you. Like, I want to be with you. Please don't leave me. He was like, I'm just so used to you always annoying me, like always doing something to F stuff up. Like, I'm used to you always like being there. And like, now you leaving me. He's like, I don't understand. And she's like, I just want you to be happy. Like, and he was like, you never said that. Like everything has always been like sexual. You never let me really get to know you like personally or whatever. Anyway, long story short, exit Ciamara, enters Shelby. So he ended up marrying Shelby on the island. So after the wedding, they're all sitting down and Harper is telling them about the book deal becoming a movie. Okay. So everybody basically agrees. And Lance says, I give you my blessing on one condition, that I get to be involved with who plays Mia, which was his wife that passed away. And, it's going to be that hot, steamy scene where he slept with his best friend's girl.
Yeah, but they're all actors playing that, so it's not like...
Yeah, but it's like, I gotta relive this again.
Yep.
So that's what he was concerned with Lance. And so tell me, how would you feel if one of your friends slept with your girl?
I'm not even sure
And
how
you
you answer
married
that. That wouldn't happen either. So,
let's say you found out. So quick backstory. Me and Brian we both went to Morgan State University. MSU? Okay. Is that what we say?
no.
I don't know.
Anyway,
we met at Morgan State ultimately, but we worked at Toys R Us together, which was a job we had off campus. But Morgan is ultimately what brought us to Baltimore to meet each other, even though we're both from the PG County area. Backstory. So moving on. We met at Toys R Us. I was enamored by Brian for some reason.
Thank you for saying that.
And his friend Chris also worked there. So Chris and Brian noticed that there's this new, she's cool, she's hot. I'm not their baby sister, man. But I was at the cashier and Chris was, I guess he thought I was attractive. So I ultimately ended up with Brian. So now that y'all know that, what if we got married and then you found out that I did sleep with Chris?
How did I find out?
One time. One of our, Chris wrote a book and he put it in the book. And you find out that I'm the one that, because you was out cheating on me, and I'm this goody two shoes girl, and you are just treating me so bad, and I decide, you know what, I'm gonna get you, sucker. I'm gonna sleep with your friend.
I mean, I just lost two people that were very close to me, but I don't lose any sleep over it. I mean,
but it was years ago. We've been married for like 15 years now.
Yeah, but the entire time you're saying,
oh no, this is before I think he found out before they got married.
Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you knew what was going on, and the whole time you were either hoping that I don't find out, because you knew if I did find out, you knew what was going to happen. So it's not a surprise to you that would end everything. It's not a surprise to Jack, Chris, that we wouldn't have a friendship anymore. Like, that's standard. Like, I don't know a lot of guy friends, like with this scenario, this best man scenario. I don't know a lot of male friend interactions where that would be okay at any point.
But you were cheating profusely.
I don't care, because at the end of the day, I'm not excusing me cheating.
Oh, and also, he took her.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Taking a virginity or not taking, like, that doesn't really.
The best friend took the virginity.
Yeah, but again, that doesn't make me feel necessarily better or worse about it. At the end of the day, whether she was, you thought she was a virgin, well, what difference does that make? Because at the end of the day, you knew what it was, and before neither one of y'all came and said, listen, I just got to tell you this because, again, you're my partner, or listen, I want you to know this because I know how you are. No one said anything. I had to find out through a book. Nah, come on. We knew. That type of interaction isn't likely to happen in most, I feel, black friend relationships.
I agree. So Robin, we already talked about that. Candace and Murch reframed their relationship. I don't remember what they did to reframe their relationship. I think Candace and Murch were kind of like off-kilter characters. Like, they were just random throughout the story. Like, she was upset with him because she felt like they didn't spend enough time together.
Candace is the former stripper.
That is Regina Hall.
They do charter schools and they got 4 kids.
Yeah, they got 2 kids. So she's like, we don't spend time, like, we don't do spontaneous things anymore. We don't spend time together. Everything is based around kids and business and blah, blah, blah. And they're getting ready to open up another school. She's getting ready to go back she's back in school. She's trying to get into this program so that she can, because she's really into this natural, because their daughter has anxiety really bad. So, yeah.
What do you mean, ew? You coughing?
I need some water.
What I'm saying is that you coughing and you look at me when I'm.
Water in that thing? There's some in there.
Do you want me to go and grab it?
Yes.
Oh, you doing this now?
Wrong pipe, man. Okay, hold on. I'll get it in a second. So you drink out of that.
I didn't drink out of that one.
Give me that.
Well, I don't want you now drinking out of it.
I'm gonna pour them. Give me that. don't act like you don't want to drink after me.
I don't.
I bore your kid.
He's not me.
You done put your mouth in a lot of places.
Not today.
Tuh.
I thought that tasted funny.
Anyway. They're not, really spending a lot of time together. And he is feeling inadequate. Like, everybody treats him like the nerd. Like, he was.
Is he?
He was a pushover in school or whatever. And so, with him agreeing to let Harper do this movie, he didn't want to be portrayed like that. But I'm like, that's what you were, though.
Yeah. It's I mean, I told you, guys' pride and ego. I mean, now you're on the big screen, and they say, oh, you the goofy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nobody wants that. I mean, come on. I get that.
Yeah. So, anyway, Jordan is always questioning her work-life balance. Her character is just all about her working too damn much. That's me alone. Okay. All right. So, they're married. Everybody agrees to the movie. Moving on. Episode 3. There's only 8 episodes, y'all, so we moving through.
We going all this up to episode 8?
Yeah, but we gonna move through because, yeah, what's up?
I thought it was like we were doing it in like sections. Like we'll do the first 2 episodes and then.
All right, well we can.
No, like do your thing.
Cluster.
Do your thing.
Right
up.
Episode 3, Brown Girl Dreaming. Robin is concerned when Harper pushes to level up his career as well as their home. Jordan gets creative to save a new show. Shelby struggles to elevate. Lance searches for passion and purpose. Murch discovers new strength. Okay, so breaking this down. This is where Robin, Harper wants to buy this new house. He signed the deal for the movie. He wants to get this new house. He wants to move to a better neighborhood because he wants to have better schools for their daughter. And Robin wants to be this Robin of the hood. Robin Hood saving lives and feeding everybody, feeding the homeless. Okay, She's like, I want to stay in this quaint life that we have. I don't like change. But you don't like change, but you just wanted to move to another freaking country.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. I feel like some women are very wayward. Like, you can't let your emotions guide the how do I say this? You can't let your emotions guide the.
Stop being a female?
No, yeah, in some situations, but you can't let your emotions guide the things that are main points in your life. I guess, with the lack of a better way to say it. No. Well,
maybe. I mean, the flip side of that could be. I mean, I just have a feeling. How many times have you said that to me? I have a feeling that this is gonna.
But how many times have I said that and it actually worked?
Again, but it takes somebody like me to say. When I said point out the fallacies and the stuff that you're saying.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying. Oh, you're saying it didn't work. I'm saying most of the time when I say I just have a feeling that this is going to work, it has. Like, I don't say that about everything. I said I just have a feeling I should be doing this with my stepping, and it's working. We're doing it. I have a feeling about holistic things. It's working. I'm doing it.
I have a feeling I got to take a dump. Never happened.
Don't do that. I take a dump regularly every day. Okay, now because of my products. But thank you. Moving on. Holisticthings.com. Go and get you some. Moving on. So Robin doesn't want to move. Whatever. Jordan gets creative to save a new show. Jordan is, she has elevated in her career from the previous episode. She's accepted this new role where she's basically going to have even less time. Like, she's doing even more at the TV studio. She has a show that's tanking right now, so she's trying to save it. So she thinks about bringing Shelby onto the show because she's having a conversation with Shelby. Shelby is now married to Quentin. They're into this life. They end up telling the daughter. So here's a big thing. Shelby's daughter, which at the time was 10 years old when they got married, she never knew that Quentin was actually her father. So they ended up telling her that was her dad. So now you see them fast forward, the daughter is now a teenager and they're living this life. Jordan is now in his career. Shelby is a retired housewife at this point. She's still doing different things on social media to make money and promoting products and whatnot. So her and Robin and our good girlfriend Robin, they having conversations. He talks about how all these followers she has on Instagram. She was like, "You have all these followers," so she ends up getting her on her show. She didn't test well the first time, but then Robin has to go and Jordan has to break the news to Shelby that she didn't test well. So now she's telling her, I need you to be less of the housewife Shelby, and I need you to be debate team Shelby from when we were in college. Like, I need you to shift it around. So she shifted around, and then she tested well the second time. So how do you, I'll pose this question to you. How do you deliver news that you think may be disappointing to the friend? Because one thing that I admired about this whole situation with Shelby and Jordan is that Jordan didn't sugarcoat it. She came back and told her, she's like, "Girl, listen, they ain't like you, but I want them to like you. I know that you're going to work out. Mm-hmm. So here's what we're going to do to revamp this." How do you expect people to, do you want your friends to put sugar on in the lemonade or just give it to you nice and bitter?
You already know the answer to that. But also, if I'm talking, it depends on if I'm talking to again, let's say Chris, you brought him up, or if I'm talking to you, mm-hmm. I would prefer to be talking to Chris because I don't have to kind of figure out different ways to make it palatable. Mm-hmm. Because for me, and this is, obviously it's been a point of contention at times in our relationship, I would rather, with again, not wanting to hurt your feelings, I would rather give it to you straight and uncut. And if it hurts your feelings, hopefully you giving me the grace that that it wasn't my intent, but I'd rather be direct and it maybe hurt your feelings in the process than me trying to really consider your feelings. And because I've tried to consider your feelings so much, I've muddled the truth and you don't really get it as it should be.
I think I get what you're saying, but I think there's a difference between being honest with someone and being rude. I think
so to that, perhaps, but I believe that that's really on the person receiving the information. I can't, so meaning that I can say the same thing to you, same thing to somebody else. They take it as, you're being honest, and you take it as you're being rude. It's the same information. I've delivered it the same way.
Yeah, but you also have to consider the source. Like, this ain't no new rodeo to you. You've known me for, it's 20 years now. Mm-hmm. Next year will be 20 years that you've known me. Ugh. So you should know. All right, y'all, let me address that because y'all be thinking that this is just how we communicate. Like, we are it's not that he dislikes me or whatever. Like, we are very you can dislike me if you want to. I don't fucking like your ass sometimes too. I'm sorry. The cursing, dang, I'm sorry. It's okay when I do it. No. But we kind of have our own language sometimes. Like, we go back and forth. And when you first meet us, you may think that, oh my God, they're being mean to each other. That's not the case. We riff back and forth often. So I should have said that in the beginning because some people were like, and I love some of y'all, but what we're not going to do is call my husband Dusty now. We ain't going to We ain't going to do that. We're not going to talk trash about my husband. No. Because we've been married for almost 10 years and there's a reason why.
No, you got to give people,
you can have your own opinions, but you also got to deal with my opinion.
It's cool. All right, listen, so
anyway.
I've known you for 20 years. You know me for 20 years.
So what I'm saying to you is when we addressing us having conversations, mm-hmm. what I feel like sometimes you haven't learned is the science behind the sugar and bitterness. Now, mind you, I'm that woman that's like, if I'm getting fat, tell me. You know what I mean? Like, don't pick and choose what you want to be super brutally honest about and then things that you don't. If you're going to be honest about everything. Mm. But there's a way to be honest with me in your delivery. Like, if you saying, all right, let me just, what can I say? If you're trying to deliver Lachey, your breath stinks. Mm-hmm. It's very bad. Like, cannot stand it.
Mhm.
You know, how do you nicely say that to somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are in your delivery, the way you say stuff, man, you like,
Don't do that. Don't do
it
that.
smells. This is how he would say it. Not
Don't
to say
do
that my breath smells bad, but I'm just using this as an example. Oh my gosh. Do y'all smell that?
That's an exaggeration.
Y'all smell that? It smells like that in here. Oh!
Is that me?
Oh! You should be ashamed of yourself. You know what? Who is it? It's you. I've been trying to tell you. You know what? I'm so glad. I'm so glad that this happened right now. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. You got to handle that. You got to handle that. This is just, you know what? I'm sorry, but I've been having a problem with this for quite some time. And no, that would actually be the right way to say it. No, let me just say this. He's very dramatic before he said, I would rather you just be like, listen, lover. That's what he calls me sometimes. Or sweetheart. I don't really know the right way to say this, but sometimes the reason why I don't know, what would you not do if you eat somebody's breast? Or the reason why we don't kiss as much or make out, I don't know. Or the reason why I don't want you talking to me so closely all the time is because I'm really let's work together. I bought this for you because I think this really helps with the problem that you may be having. Your breath tends to smell a little bad sometimes. So
that's how you would want me to say it.
Yeah, just you're being honest,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you're not being rude.
Well, again, I would say that.
And you're trying to provide a solution.
I would say that rude is a matter of just a person. Like, rude is a sliding scale. Everybody's definition of what's rude varies.
Or you know what you would do? Let me tell y'all, this is what he would do. He would be like, let's play a game. You do what I do. Now you do it. And then I would do it. And then I'm like, what? You don't smell nothing?
No.
That would be exactly what you would try to do.
When I say this, and you can be like, you know what, Brian? That's right. So forget the dramatics. What would happen is, Lachey would be in my face, as she is wont to do. I would be holding my breath. Because, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to chill, dog. And then, because, again, I can't hold my breath that long, so I might do something like, all right, what is your problem? Your breath stinks. No, it don't. So now we in defiance.
That's what I would do.
100%. You absolutely would do that. You would be in my face. I'll be trying to hold my breath, and I'm like, I'm about to. So I can't. So I'll do something like this. Come on. And then you will say,
well, here's the real reality of it. Not to say that Brian has said that my breath stinks, but Brian holds his breath around everybody. He has trust issues. So it's not that my breath is profusely stank or something. He literally, anybody that's around him, he holds his breath. It's ridiculous.
Lachey,
it's insane.
You really got me out here on some weirdo stuff.
No, you are a weirdo, but I love you still. Okay. Moving on, out of the breath situation, the breath scenario. And again, to clear the record, he has never said that my breath stinks. Okay. Just to be clear, that was an example. You think her breath stinks?
Lachey, even if I did, because I'm a nice guy, I wouldn't say it on camera. You see that?
But we talking about being honest with each other.
The difference is that you had me initially.
I'm close to you right now. You smell my breath?
Can we move to the, and I'm telling you, can we break this up? Because you want to know the third chapter.
All right. So, moving on. This is when Lance decides to go back to the NFL. He's playing for the Giants. He does really well in the beginning, but then he gets hurt. You're old. Moving on. Episode 4, The Invisible Man. Lance returns to glory as he encourages Lance Jr. to stay on the same path. Candace pursues a new thesis advisor. Murch tangles with a Karen. Okay, so let's break this down. Robin vibes with a kindred spirit. Quentin struggles to take over the family business from his father. All right, Lance returns to glory. This is where he comes back into the NFL. Now, Lance Jr., right? So we're going to get more engrossed into Lance Jr. Lance Jr., he has a natural talent where it comes to football, but he's just really not into it. Okay. He's working as an intern with his aunt Jordan. Jordan has this big career, the TV studio, stuff like that. So he's interning with her. He has a very close relationship with Quentin and Shelby's daughter. Okay, so they hang out together and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, his son is he doesn't want to be a son. He is non-binary, which we have to get used to these terms. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a non-binary person is you don't consider yourself a he or a she. You are them.
Okay.
So you address them as us, them. I mean, as them, you know, whatever. You don't describe them as a gender.
Do you describe them as a person?
Yeah, you're a person,
Okay.
I guess, but you don't want to be defined with your gender because you don't.
So
you
what
don't
bathroom do you use?
Claim a certain gender.
So what bathroom has he had the issue or y'all had the issue or whatever?
Well, they didn't film that.
Okay.
Maybe he's peeing outside because he does have a penis. So there's that. He hasn't changed that yet. So us or thems, I don't know. When you go to the hospital and something's wrong with your genitalia, I don't know. But he's a them.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna get into that. I'm still learning. So moving on. He's trying to find a way to tell his dad because his dad gets getting more engrossed into football. He's trying to tell him, no, I'm not. Everybody, all the friends know at this point that he is, because he came to work. He kept coming to his job with Jordan with his uniform on, his school uniform. She said, you don't have to wear your uniform every time. So he comes to the job now, sashaying. He is.
What is he wearing? Does that mean
It's a
he's wearing
suit,
a dress?
but he has on some heels with this. Like he is fresh to death. Like he got the lashes, his makeup done. Them has their makeup done.
Does Jordan know what
She
Lance
knows
Jr. is?
now.
Okay.
She knows now because he was like, I've been wanting. I mean, them had been wanting to
just call Lance Jr.
Lance. I'm gonna just say Lance. Lance Jr. had been wanting to tell her all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's that. Candace pursues a new thesis advisor. She's in school. She's doing this whole new endeavor with her trying to get more natural remedies out there for anxiety, all these different things. She's like, we can cure the body literally without drugs. Like we don't have to. Kind of how I identify with her in this because I do a lot of research on herbs and natural remedies, things like that.
Me too.
To make sure that.
Good.
Yeah, you tend to smoke them. I tend to blend them in teas. Moving on.
I'm thick.
So anyway, through her pursuit, her professor is like giving her a hard time. So there's this renowned professor at the school. She seeks advice from him. So she asked him to be her advisor. And this is also a guy that Harper is looking at his career where he's like, all of these books I'm writing, they're kind of like satires. I want to change avenues. Like I want to do something different. I want to write some stuff that really matters to people. Like I want to change. And so he's struggling with doing that too. And Robin vibes with a kindred spirit. She vibing with another man. There's a man that is selling fruits and veggies in the neighborhood. Like they are both like she cooks and so he has the food. So she's like vibing with him and lusting after this man. I feel a little too much. And she even brings Candace to meet him. And she's like, yeah, I just love his spirit, his vibe. And I'm like, girl, I know you lying. So moving on. Lance gets hurt and then the party done with the whole. And Quentin is struggling taking over the family business because now at this point they are during the times of the C-19. Remember, don't say during the times of C-19, and they own resorts and stuff, so they're not getting the revenue that they were getting in the past. So he's trying to revamp the business and figure out how to move forward. Now that his father is not heavily involved and he's passed the business over to him. So episode 5, the party, okay? During New Year's, Jordan tries a new love. So Jordan's ex-boyfriend comes back into her life. Like, this was an ex from college that did her dirty. Like, he was really like the guy that defined a F-boy to her. Like, even there was some guy that was on the resort that was pursuing her, but he just disappeared into the thin air. I don't know what happened. But
resort life.
This guy, did you watch Power with me?
Have I?
No, you didn't watch Power. So I was gonna say you.
I mean, I've seen Power.
It was the lawyer guy.
Which one?
The lawyer that she slept with.
The white dude?
No, it was a black
Ferrara?
dude.
The dude that just had the goatee, had the little thing goatee, like the little patch there. So he died.
Yeah, he did die.
Bald head.
Yep, bald head. So he played her love interest, her boyfriend, her love interest.
The F boy was the dude on the resort that was just.
Well, he was an F boy in college, and now he came back.
All right, I mean, it was in their 20s or whatever. All
yeah. Right. So Quentin and Lance face new parenting challenges. So this is where they find out they further into, because Quentin goes into the daughter's room, okay, and they see Lance's son, Lance Jr., decked out in makeup and stuff. So Quentin knows now. So this is where everybody finds out. They're trying to figure out, Jordan already knew. So they all get on a conference call, like, how we gonna tell Lance? We got to tell Lance, because this ain't right. We got to tell him. He should know what's going on with his child. So they're trying to figure that out. Jordan, she's getting wined and dined by this dude. So tell me this. You whining and dining this girl that you used to, like, you dated her in college, but you didn't really treat her right.
Mm-hmm.
So now you trying to get back with her.
Mm-hmm.
And you're whining and dining her and nothing seems to be working.
Mm-hmm.
When do you call it? When do you give up?
I mean, it's more of a feeling thing.
How much grace do you give her?
Nah, if we've gone out a couple times and the vibe isn't there, I'm it's a mercy kill. I'm pulling the plug. Like, I'm not trying to win somebody over that way.
Well, I mean, she's flattered and having a good time. They're hanging out. They're just not having sex.
How often have they hung out? Like, what's the duration?
I think it's been some months.
Oh, I mean, because I'm not going to put a timeline. It's more of so the sex thing doesn't really come into play yet for me. It's more of a, like, do I think that we're not having sex because she's got, like, friend zoning me or something like that, or is it still like she's still guarded because of the stuff that's done her?
Guarded because of the stuff.
All right, well, then if I really care about her, then I'm willing to put the work in because I messed up earlier. So
okay,
I don't have a problem with that.
So Murch explores a new pastime. He basically started boxing to, like, work out, relieve some stress, because he had an encounter with a Karen. Like, there was this woman, he was getting in the car with his daughters, and he hailed a cab.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting in the cab. His daughter is already in the cab. This white lady comes out of nowhere, and she's like, "This is my cab," and puts her dog in there. And so then she does the Karen thing, and she's like, "He's attacking me," because he's a black man or whatever. So instead of him, he ultimately in his head was like, "Oh my God, my daughters are here." He's thinking the worst. He knows there's cops walking up. He's thinking this could end in turmoil for me. So I'm going to just let her have this cab.
Mm-hmm.
So the daughters are looking at him like he's weak. Like, Dad, you just stood there. You didn't do anything. But, okay, so that's a good question for you. How would you have handled it? I'm going to tell you how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I can see what the daughters were thinking, but they're young. Like, I appreciated the way he handled it, but I probably would have pulled my phone out. I probably would have done the social media recording thing. And actually, Quentin and all of them told him that's what he should have did too. Because I would have recorded her and put her on live on social media to show how she was acting. Because it's your word against mine right now.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, how would you know that, you know what I mean? Like, you got to be quick with it. That got to be your instinct to pull your phone out right away, because now it's looking like you trying to take her cab or whatever.
Mhm.
But all of the stuff that she's doing, no, it would have worked, because if you're filming it and you're saying, "Oh my God, he's trying to hurt me. He's trying to hurt me," and I'm clearly on the other side of the cab. I'm not touching you. I'm not saying anything to you. I will be able to show that through the video. And with the cops coming, they're like, "Come on, man, just." And then the cab driver, he was black, so I was pissed off by that, because I'm like, "You are black. You're black." He's like, "Come on, man, whoever, come on, somebody get in this cab. Like, come on now." But the lady is acting like they're doing something to her, and the cops come and they're telling the black man to flee the scene, and now it's his fault.
Mhm.
What would you do in that situation, being a black man in America, considering what has been going on, and just trying to make sure you can make it back home to your family?
I'm not pulling my phone out. That's just not a instinct of mine to start recording some woman doing an interaction. However, my daughter's already in the car, so I'm going to rely more on the facts that I was here first. My daughter was in the car. The cab driver, black, white, whatever. I'm using that person as a witness to say, have them give the account of what happened. Who opened the door? Who flagged you down? Who did you see? Where did you stop? Like, I'm using all of these things to be able to show that I was here first. Yada yada yada. If all else fails and it's the cops are like, "Listen, bro, just let her have it," then I would concede, take my daughter out of the cab, and then we would have a conversation about what transpired and yada yada yada. But I'm not taking my phone out, just because it's not me to start doing that and trying to figure out where the camera is and all other stuff. So I wouldn't do that.
Hence, he doesn't use social media because he.
But I get direct
They
DMs.
anyway,
come to my watch.
Whatever. That's also not an Apple Watch.
They come to my other watch.
And the battery doesn't work.
The watch I keep in my car.
Movado that he has on his arm.
No Movado. It's a Nixon.
Oh.
You have a Movado watch?
Oh, my bad.
20 years, y'all.
I just thought of watches.
No, you thought of another guy's watch.
No.
No, don't try to sweeten it up.
I know why I said that.
I know why too. What was his name?
No.
Mm-hmm.
No. I'll tell you later.
I don't want to know later.
Anyway, moving on. So, okay, that's your take on it. I raised you with the camera and saying I would have recorded the conversation with it. That's what I'm saying. Nowadays, you probably need to be more, being a black man,
fair.
You have to be more prone to social media to help protect you.
There are cameras everywhere, though.
Yeah, but listen, those cameras you can't control, and they might not be in your possession. If you do it on social media, somebody is likely to see it, and you have more eyes and ears than you ever would have known. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, moving on. So everybody would have probably different people, different strokes, different folks for that situation. But that board created the life of Murch going to now. He ended up becoming some MMA fighter. The guy that the gym he was going to, they were like, "You have a natural talent. Like, you should do this." And so he's doing this, and he's like hiding it from his family. He didn't even share it with his wife and his daughters that he's doing this. But this is a stress relief that he has. Mm-hmm. And Candace is like, "Well, listen, I got these assignments to do. I need your help with the kids." And he's like getting upset that he has to help with the kids more. But she's like, "Why?" And it's because he wants to spend more time doing what he's doing, because he has this pent up anger inside of him. One, the lady did that to him. Two, how he's being portrayed in this movie as some simp. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't had the conversation with Harper that he doesn't like it. He's talking to everybody but Harper. So he's pissed off about it with that. So Shelby contends with a new type of pie. And Shelby doesn't know it yet, but sis is going through menopause. She is, she had all the damn time, okay? Robin and Harper pursue new work dreams. So Robin now, she's I think this is where she fully got into the neighbor. She has like this big kitchen in the neighborhood. She's doing all these dinners. She's being very active in the community, things like that. And of course, Harper is supporting her. Mm-hmm. He's got his movie and stuff going on. He's trying to go into a different direction. And ironically, Candace is seeking advisorship from someone on her campus that Harper wants to be more acquainted with, because he's like this elite person in the literal realm. Okay. Is that
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even catch that, but go ahead.
okay? Anyway. Episode 6, An American Marriage. Harper and Robin contend with work-life conflicts as his movie premieres. Jordan, Lance, and Quentin grapple with revelations about their loved ones. Candace is challenged at school. Murch fights for respect. Shelby battles Mother Nature. Okay, so Harper and Robin contend with work-life conflicts as his movie premiere. So I don't know if we talked about it. They ended up moving into the new house. She said, "Okay, I'm gonna support you. We're gonna move into this new house.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be, this is another way yet again that I'm supporting you." So she's building a case here. She's like, "I'm supporting you. I'm doing all these things for you, but you do the same for me." Okay, but she hasn't said that.
Right.
Okay. So, Jordan, Lance, and Quentin grapple with revelations about their loved ones. This is again talking about Lance Jr.
Mm-hmm.
and and the sexuality of them. Okay. Candace is challenged at school. So she's still going on dealing with this stuff with this professor that's being really hard on her. But then the professor that's her advisor, he ends up being rambunctious with her. Like she got a late night session with him to help her with a paper that she was writing. And she was like, "I'm getting all these red marks. I don't understand. Can I get some time to meet with you as my advisor to help me do this right?" Because she's trying to get these papers published, or she's getting a master's doing this. So she's trying to, figure out all these ways to create these natural remedies. So getting to the point, he gets very handsy with her during the session. And she's like, "Why are you doing this?" Like, he's an older man. And older or younger, it doesn't matter. It's inappropriate. And so the cleaning lady comes in on it because I think he was going to try to RAPE her. And because he's like all on her, he's like standing over the back of her. And she's at the desk at her computer, and he's on the back, and he's like, "Just don't fight it." And
rubbing her breast?
Yeah. And like, she's like, "Wait, no, don't do this, or whatever." And so the clean lady comes in, and so she's like, I'm so sorry. And she walks out, but that saved her. So Candace runs out of there, and she's upset. Mm-hmm. So this is right after. So her and Murch are having this, difference in their relationship, because she feels like he's not really he's reluctant to help with things around the house. He's dealing with his own mental things.
Did she tell him?
She didn't tell him right away. So he's at home because she had the girls are in Jack and Jill.
I don't know what that means.
You remember John was in Jack and Jill? That's like an elite thing for, like, you got to be invited to get into that. John was in it. Like, people basically, when your parents got money, you get into it. But if you don't have money, somebody got to invite you in. Which, by the way, we need to get Jeanette and John to invite. Anyway, moving on. So she asked him to take the girls to the Jack and Jill thing, and he got pissed because he had an MMA type of thing when he was supposed to be fighting that night. So he was like, "I want to go do this." Like, in his head, he's like, "I want to go do this, but you're asking me to do something for the kids, so you can go have this session with the professor because you're trying to get your paper done or whatever." Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Why are you so upset about this?" Like, it was the movie premiere night too. So he foregoed going to the movie premiere because he didn't want to see himself on screen. Mm-hmm. So she didn't think he had it. She was like, "Well, I didn't think you had anything to do. You said you don't want to go to the movie premiere for whatever reason. You don't want to be seen like that." Mm-hmm. The girls have this. I wasn't already going to go because we have to take the girls to this thing. So I was sacrificing not going because I want to go. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing this for the girls. So why can't you take them to this thing? Like, you already weren't going. Mm-hmm. So what are you doing? And he's like, "It doesn't matter what I'm doing. You can't, don't try to monopolize my time." And she's like, "That's not what I'm doing. I'm just asking you as my co-parent to help me. Help me."
Understand.
Okay. So he ends up taking them. He comes and picks them up bloody faced because he did both. Okay. But he's pissed off, that he has to do this. So he's asleep when she gets home. Mm-hmm. And she contemplates waking him up to tell him. But then she's like, "I don't want to deal with this because you already done pissed me off earlier, and then I got this going on.
That's fair.
the plight of a Black woman, just holding it all in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so moving on. So we're dealing with that. Candace, Murch fights for, okay, that's where he's fighting. Shelby battles Mother Nature, so she's still having these issues with the hormones. So we're on episode 7. Things fall apart. Harper and Robin contend with priorities and conflicts. Candace and Murch discover each other's secrets. Jordan receives surprising news. Quentin rebels against new boundaries. Lance faces off with LJ after a scare. Shelby takes on a caretaker role. Okay. So Harper and Robin contend with priorities and conflicts. So this is when Harper had the movie premiere. She had something that a community event that she was actually hosting. So she decided to sacrifice being at the start of the event and go to his movie premiere to support him.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're in therapy at this point too, because she's told the therapist, and this is also something I wanted to talk to you about too. I'm gonna speed it up.
Mm-hmm.
In therapy, she talked about how, you know what, I don't feel like you're supportive of me. I feel like I support everything that you want to do, but you don't ever really support me as much as I support you, and it bothers me. You're very passionate about things, and you're just so career driven that you don't get engrossed in the things that I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, you've never said anything. He's like, he was like, but you're very flighty. Like, you want to do this thing and that thing, and I've supported you. I've find it. He was like, how do you think we pay for these things? Like, these book deals and all this stuff that I'm doing, us having money is because I'm consistent in what I'm doing. So we have money because of my passion, of me being successful in my career. But you don't acknowledge that. You are doing all these other things, and you're so busy doing what you want to do that the minute I can't show up for what you want or whatever, now it's a problem or whatever. So my question to you is, how do you deal with someone that you've been married to them for 10 years and you're thinking, and you say this to me often, you've said it in the past. That's why I try to be better about when I'm feeling something. Sometimes it may come out wrong, or I may not say it the way I really feel it. It may come out a little effed up sometimes, and then I have to come back and clean it up and really define it how I really mean it. How do you how in the past you would say, I think everything is going good, and then you pop up with this that I don't expect. Explain how you feel? Because that's basically what happened. Over 10 years, he's thinking everything is good. And then she all of a sudden is coming up with all these issues that she has with him in therapy.
I mean, they did the first thing, which is got out on the table. So it starts with a conversation. Once it's out there, then it's just resolution. Mm-hmm. But both people have to feel comfortable that both people are getting heard. So if they're in counseling and it comes up, they're already on the right path, because now it's out. It's not one person thinking one thing and the other person thinking another. So they're going to figure out whatever middle ground is best for them. But, I mean, I think half the battle's already over with, which is it's been brought to the surface. So,
mm-hmm. But how much grace do you think that you should provide that person? Or if you're the person that if I'm the person that just brought it up, I'm having issues. How much grace do you think I should allow you to change? Now that you know.
I mean, I think that's a judgment call. But you got to see that somebody is trying, mm-hmm. And if you love the person, that's ultimately going to determine how long of a leash I think they will get or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's all about effort. If you see that somebody's trying, like, it's not going to change overnight. I've been doing this way for 10 years or something like that. But if you see the person is trying, then you work with them. And if you don't see that they're trying, all right, well, now you may have your answer as well. So.
Gotcha. Okay. I feel like in that moment, like, she didn't give him enough time. Like, she expected him to change overnight, because there was a situation where the little dude that she is enamored by, the fruit and veggie guy, he sent her a listing for a restaurant that she was like, oh my God, I gotta get this. I want to get on top of getting this right away. Mm-hmm. And she kind of compared it to when Harper wanted the house, how he was like, we gotta get on this right now if we're gonna do it. So she was like, I told you that I was passionate about that, and you didn't do what you needed, because he had been with the movie, he had been gone for quite some time, like doing whatever he needed to do to get this movie going and whatnot. And she had called him and was telling him about, but I need you to call the real estate agent so we can get on it right now at this price because it's not on the market. And he was like, yeah, I'll take care of it or whatever. But he just kind of brushed it off because he's like, you always saying you want to do something. Like, but I feel like she didn't even explain to him what this, you know what I mean? Like, if you're that important, if this is that important to you, have a conversation with me about, and I'm busy doing all these things that I'm doing. If it's that important to you, give me the deets. Do all of the legwork for me so that all I have to do is sign on the dotted line. But I need you to tell me exactly what you're trying to do with this space because it's a lot. He was like, this is a lot of money that we're going to be investing in this. So it sounds like she didn't really welcome him into her world as much as he's invited her into his. That's what it felt like to me. Like, I felt like she didn't really, she's passionate about all this stuff, but it's like she's sort of sideways expecting him to love the stuff that she loves as much as she does. And that's just not going to happen because that's like saying he wants her to love writing as much as he does. They don't they're not the same. Opposites attract, which is great, but y'all are not equally passionate about the things that y'all are separately doing. So I think that she kind of dropped the ball. So that ended up with, in the last episode, we're going to get to, and Jordan finds out she's pregnant.
Which one is Jordan again?
Jordan is Nia Long.
Okay.
And for a while, she had been
told
that she couldn't get pregnant or whatever. But she don't know if it's Harper's or the F-boy because her and Harper, they're alluding to the fact that maybe her and Harper slept together.
Harper's Tay Diggs?
Yeah, after the wedding. Because he was having issues with Robin, his wife. She was mad at him because he didn't come home fast enough for her for New Year's while he's doing all this stuff for the movie, whatever. And so they may have had a rump session, or if you will. And she was and so she was mad, and she was mad that he didn't get the restaurant for her right away, like she wanted him to, that building. So anyway. Also, she wanted him to block off his schedule for June and July to go to Ghana with her because she wants to go on this expedition of sorts in Ghana. So he was like, well, they're talking about number 2 for the movie. So I have to, because the movie did so well, they want to do a number 2. So I got to be here to get all this stuff done or whatever. So she's like, well, you're the captain of your schedule. He was like, I'm actually not, though, because I can't tell them, but I don't know.
I'm going to side with her on that aspect. Like, I think if the thing went so well, they want another 2. And Hollywood typically does want, they have their own timeline, but you also got to take care of home. So if it were me, this would be an opportunity for me to say, okay, you know what? I'm all for number 2. However, I do need a break. I want to, for my family, like, this is what you got to have a work-life balance. So I would have just conceded and gone and did that. One, I can say we did do that, so get off my back. But also, you got to let Hollywood know that you're not going to just use me up, and then when you're done with me, just kick me out. Like, I'm not just here just doing these movies for you guys. Like, I'm also, this is my real life. Like, art imitates life, but this is my life that I'm living as well. So
I can agree with that. I think he could have given her, it was 2 or 3 months or something like that. I think he really didn't want to go. But I feel like if you love your wife and your kid or whatever, and she's making all these sacrifices for you, and y'all talked about that in therapy, you could at least did that. And he was like, I'm not saying I won't go. He's like, I can't control when they want to do this movie and stuff and when they want to talk about it. So I'm going to have to come back and forth.
Yeah, because she can say, like, what if they want the trilogy? So when does it end? So I get you when you all.
That's what she was saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, okay. So they're dealing with that. Jordan finds out she's pregnant, but then she loses it.
Ooh.
Quentin rebels against new boundaries. So he had a slight heart attack.
Who is he?
Quentin.
Right. Terrence Howard.
So this was after the movie premiere night. Shelby hurried up and called the doctor or whatever and got him. So now he has to go on this new diet. do all these different things. So he's just upset because his life is drastically changing. Can't exercise as much. They used to be humping all the time. So can't have sex with his wife as much as he would like to. Yeah, he has to adjust to this. So then he lashes out at her. And he's like, you know what? I should have never married you. And my life went bad as soon as I married you or whatever. But then he cleans it up. He's had a conversation with her, and then because she was getting these chefs to create meals for him that he could eat, and she was like, "See, it tastes just like chicken." You know, she's trying. And one day she ultimately comes home, and he's trying to make the cauliflower, and he says, "You know, I'm so sorry." He's like, "You've been there for me. You've always been there for me, and I'm up here, you know, being a brat or whatever."
That's fair.
So. And at this point, you know, their financials changed a bit different because he ended up selling the company to another. Because he was like, I have to work. Well, he was thinking about it. I got to work overtime to try to get us back to where we were. Because he had changed the model of the business from what his dad had. Also, his dad has become a hoarder at this point. He's getting older. And this is going into the last episode, okay? So in the last episode, friends help Lance as he grapples with a family crisis. At Quentin's ugly truths unfurl right before a huge celebration. Harper and Robin struggle to redefine their relationship. Jordan considers the road less traveled. Shelby considers reality. Okay. So last but not least, friends help Lance because Shelby and Quentin are having a party at their house. I think it's a New Year's Eve party or something like that. And Candace and Murch were like, oh, we don't want to go. Oh, we'll go. So they ended up going. So
our kids allowed?
The girls ended up not wanting to go. They were like, I don't like going because, you know, LJ, which is Lance Jr., LJ and I forget the daughter's name. They're always so, you know, the oldest girl has anxiety really bad. So she was like, oh my God, I got to make sure my outfit looks good so they don't say anything about me. And So she's having a flare up. And Candace is in mom mode. She's like, well, have you been taking, she was like, she's basically trying to work with her to not take the medication. And she's like, well, I'll take my pills, Mom, and I'll be better. And, you know, and so they worked through that, and she was like, you don't have to go. So the kids didn't have to go, and they were happy about that. So moving on, at this party, Lance ultimately finds out
about his son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, he found out before this. This is beforehand, so this is something I missed. This was the party where he finds out, and then LJ runs away, and he thought that something happened to him, but then he found him, and then because he tried to take all of LJ's clothes away that represented him, them, you know, right. The transition in his life. So LJ ran away, but then ultimately he found them, and LJ was in a church, and he was like, you know, why don't you accept me, Dad? You know, and now he has to move on and he decided to accept his kid because.
How old is LJ?
LJ is 16, 17 at this point. So he was through their trial, he said, I wish it was you instead of Mom that passed away. He was like, you don't understand me, you know, you're very, you know, this, that, and the third. So anyway, Lance embraces his son. They had a premiere night. Oh, Lance was inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's what this is. So he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. They're retiring his number, all this, that, and the third. His family is there. LJ is dressed how he wants to be dressed. And they talk about LJ and him ultimately moving into football like his dad. And he was like, he can do whatever, you know, they can do whatever they want to do. You know, he's using the correct pronouns. I got to get used to it. But Lance is ultimately embracing LJ.
His son, right. Well,
right. Harper and Robin struggle to redefine their relationship. So, moral of the story, they get a divorce.
Who is getting a divorce?
Harper and Robin. They end up getting a divorce because she's pissed off. She's like, the restaurant thing really pissed her off. She's like, we're trying to move, like that really put the nail in the coffin for me.
Okay.
And also, while they're at the table deliberating over what's going to happen, she's like, "Oh yeah, and me and Mia are moving to Ghana. We're moving."
Just one of their children, or is that their only child?
That's their only child.
Okay.
So she says, "You know what? The little thing I was doing this summer, I'm actually going to move there." So you have never been to Ghana before.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what you said to me about the Arizona cow. You never been there.
Mm-hmm.
But once you go there for this thing, you decide, I'm going to stay here. You've never experienced it before, nothing, but you want to stay here now. So Harper is like, I'll change. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I don't want you to take my kid, you know. So then he does what he has to do to contest her in court. Then he decides, you know, he hangs out with his daughter. And Robin taught Mia that when somebody is in need, you help them because we have food at home. They were walking home one day and they had their snacks set up. And so Robin gave a homeless person their food.
Mm-hmm.
And Mia was like, well, what are we going to eat now, Mommy? And she says, we have more at home. We're fine. So they were in the park, Harper and Mia, their daughter. And there was a hungry person. And they had gotten these burgers that Mia really wanted. And Mia gave the hungry person her burger. And Harper was like, why'd you do that, sweetheart? And she was like, well, Dad, we have more at home. It's okay. So he was like, oh, my God, like my child, you know. So he said, okay, well, Dad will split his burger with you. So they're talking. And he, I guess, had a revelation at that point that he don't want to hurt his kid. So he going to go ahead. He don't want to cause, because his friends were like, you're going to have contention with, like, this is going to cause a problem if you try to keep her here. But I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, you can't just, like, as a mother, I would not do that to my child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever I'm doing in Ghana, this is where it really pissed me off. Because you are so engrossed in your work and the things that you're doing here in New York, right? Why you can't just continue to do that? Now you want to go because you seen this lady with this food thing in this other country. First you wanted to move there. Now you want to be this renegade Renaissance woman in New York. Now you want to move to Ghana. And you expect me to just be on board with all of this stuff. Like, how would you feel? That's the ultimate question I wanted to ask you. How would you feel if I did that to you? Given everything you know about Robin now, and I came to you and I said, me and Gavin moving to Ghana.
That's a loaded question. Like that's tough because you're right. I don't want it to be a lot of strife, but also knowing my wife, you're probably going to crap the bed out there, or something's going to happen where you're going to end up coming back. If I know, like, it seems like if you're saying she's flighty, she's doing this, she's doing that, then maybe it wouldn't, maybe it's more effort to fight you on this because it's more stress, you know, and I don't want my relationship with my child to suffer as a result. So maybe I don't. We can still get divorced, all that stuff. You move, you take our child, but I think if I have the means, if I'm him, then I'm doing the visits back and forth, and you know, anticipating my ex-wife moving back because things didn't pan out, or she saw somebody in Seattle who, you know, was a chef and now quit the chef business because she wanted to work on feet now, and that's so I'm just assuming that I'm waiting for the next thing to hit.
So, but what if she gets there and she decides to stay?
How does my child feel?
She was sad leaving. Mia was crying. She was like, I don't want to leave Daddy.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, Daddy, can you go with us?
Right.
She's like, please go with us.
No. So again, what I do is I'm taking trips to Africa. Like I'm if I gotta get dual citizenship or whatever I gotta do, I'm still gonna be in my child's life. So It's maybe not be as frequent, and ultimately I can't necessarily be that mad because if she goes in there and it really was the best thing, this was her calling and she's flourishing, and although my child initially didn't want to go, but now she's thriving in this environment as well.
Yeah, so, she's like, you know, at least she can be around other brown people like her, and she doesn't have to deal with all of these issues that, of course, have spawned in the United States of black and white and black versus everybody type of stuff.
Well,
So that was her whole angle of selling it. But,
I mean, you continue to monitor the situation, but
right, because there's, I'm sure, cultural issues in every country. So there's that. So they end up moving. There's a big deal happening for Harper that she surprises in the end of the show. She surprises him and sends Mia back to visit him. Her mother brings Mia back, and I guess she's there to visit for a period of time, and then she'll go back, of course.
yeah, maybe it's summers, you know. Let's say she does it, but she spends summers here in America with me. But we got to figure it out ultimately.
And then when she gets older, maybe she's like, I don't want to go back to Ghana, mommy. And she makes her own decision. So it's okay. But I would never do that to you.
I know you wouldn't.
Moving on. Ugly truths unfurl right before a huge celebration. That was Harper and Robin struggle to define. Jordan considers the road less traveled. So she ends up dumping the guy because the guy apparently has stake in the prison system. So she
who is it dumping who?
Jordan dumps.
Okay, due to power.
So she's no longer pregnant. She dumps him because she finds out this information. And there's that. Lance is embracing them, LJ. Shelby and Quentin they're moving forward in their relationship. They're being more helpful of each other. She's embracing her newfound bout with menopause and getting older. Murch and Candace, she actually discovers, she ends up going to one of his fights by chance because he didn't go to he ended up not going. Something happened where he didn't go to the Hall of Fame thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they did. They watched it on TV. I don't know. Something ended up happening where they all, Lance, Q, Quentin, and Harper were at the fight because somebody went live. And so the girl saw it and was like, Mom, what's Dad doing? So she ends up going to the fight. And she's like, what the hell, what's going on here? So she gets there.
Did he win the fight?
He won.
Of course.
And as he's fighting, like, of course, he was getting beat up at some point. She's like, I don't know why this is turning me on. And so, because they hadn't really been having sex.
Him getting beaten up is turning her on?
No, the fact that he's doing this.
Okay.
And so she ends up hugging him, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you, whatever. And so he was like, yeah, that's what I've been doing, or whatever. So she's embracing it. They're moving forward, and they're agreeing to spend more time with each other and be more open with each other. And then she ends up ultimately telling him, I think this was before.
About the rape?
No, don't say that word.
Oh.
So that's why I spelled it out. So she ends up telling him before that what happened with the professor. So I think he was kind of taking it out on that guy in that fight. But he's like, don't ever keep anything like that away from me. Like, always tell me. So they work through that. So their relationship is intact. So yeah.
Is this like the best man, the final chapters, or is this like we just get started?
That's what it's called. The best man, final chapters.
So it's no more like, but wait.
That's it. I mean, I would love for them to continue.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if it was like.
Harper is sad, of course, that it ultimately closes out with him being sad that everybody moved away. This is before he was surprised with Mia. Everybody's moving away. Well, Robin and Mia moved away. So the guys, they always play cards. So the guys came over. He hadn't been taking care of himself. He's just been kind of barricading himself in his house.
Is he still shaving?
He was still bald, so I guess he was
he made sure to take care of that. Go ahead.
So they come over and just come in. He lets one person in, and all of them come, and they set up the table and put drinks out, and they're like, we need a fourth. Come on. So he kind of course, it was showing that bond that as friends they have. Mm-hmm. Him and Jordan seem to be getting a little closer. They try to redefine their relationship. She's like, you know what? I'm not really trying to rush into anything with you, but let's just see how it goes. So I think they actually started, it alluded to them starting to explore more than a friendship. So I think they're going to end up dating. She's basically like, she don't want to be a rebound chick, if you will. But they've been kind of toying.
So he's got to be with somebody else first and then get with her?
I don't know what they're trying to do, but I guess they've been toying with the idea of a rendezvous forever since college. So they might, I guess at this point they're exploring it. So that was when he was doing this big speech. I can't remember what it was, on a big platform, and all of them came to support him. And he was talking to Robin FaceTime, and she was like, she was like, well, Mia is in class right now and she can't talk or whatever, but I'm sure she's so proud of you. And she was like, well, I think you have a special gift coming. And that was when Mia ran in. Dope. And she sent the kid to come and help celebrate him. So that is the Best Man Final Chapters, y'all. And this has been me, Shay Renee Online, and Brian kind of breaking this with my husband. Whatever. Anyway, thank y'all for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.
What about, don't forget to
like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody else that is going to be has watched the Best Man Final Chapters to get the commentary. And we will see you in the next video.
Thank you, Shay.
Peace out.